Hi guys, Brant here and welcome to another commentary video. Today is going to be a little bit off topic when it comes to the game, more to do with the DBD community itself, which continues to be a very, very confusing, volatile place that I will never be truly in full understanding of. Today we're going to be talking about a specific tweet made by a fairly large streamer that came across my dashboard recently that really upset me. And usually I don't comment on things like this because I just kind of don't want that drama in my life. But like, it was such a punching down, very like nasty take that I really want to make sure that we understand and raise awareness that like, hey, this is a terrible take. Please don't say this, especially considering all things involved. If you're unaware right now, patch 7.70 is essentially one of the buggiest patches we have ever had in Dead by Daylight. There are three major buggy patches that are known for being awful, arguably four. The first being way before I started playing the game, where DBD behavior dropped an update and then went on holiday break and everything was messed up. You could literally use chainsaws on the chainsaw from Hillbilly on Myers and stuff like that. It was wild, and they didn't get fixed for a long time because they went on holiday. That was probably the most buggy chapter, but like it was more like funny buggy and not like, and obviously the population of the game was really, really low at that point. The second worst, and probably the objective worst, is the original Binding of Kin chapter, where not only did the release character twins not work and have more than one game-breaking bug that the only way to get around it was to just quit the game, but half the roster was bugged, and there was a lot of tremendous issues with the game as well, which is very similar to what we're dealing with right now. The third worst is the mid chapter after the twins, where there's a major desync issue, which is kind of similar to what's happening right now, except it was more of a problem on like the killer end. So essentially you'd be getting hit from like a meter or two away on the survivor side, just because for some reason the killer was always like a meter or two behind where they actually were, and the server just wasn't understanding that. So that was miserable. But this patch is similar in the sense that they updated to Unreal 5, which has created major desync issues with the server and has very comprehensively bugged characters all across the board. The Xenomorph has a game-breaking bug where they can get stuck in a control station, just be unable to use one of their control stations for the rest of the game. Luckily, the Xenomorph, unlike another character I'm going to mention, can just dive right back into the tunnel and go somewhere else. Wesker has a game-breaking bug that if he hits his M2, sometimes he just gets stuck on the environment and can't go anywhere after the fact, and he's just like literally the only way to get out of it is to DC. So the game is in a pretty sorry state, and that context is important because this big streamer, who I will not be showing the name of, because even if I blurred the name, their cadence is pretty unique, so it's going to be very obvious to see who it was. But essentially what the streamer said was that, oh wow, DBD's in the worst state that I've ever seen, but I bet you're gonna boot it up anyways. And they thought it was like this big gotcha. They thought there was this like huge like punching down, like, haha, got him, stupid DBD players, you're gonna boot up the game even though you hate it. That's not the flex that you think it is, which is what I put in the street. It's not the flex that you think it is. This guy thinks he's getting the 1-2 punch on the DBD community and talking about how dumb they are. But like usually when people are making I'm gonna play it anyway kind of conversations with Dead by Daylight, it's related to balance, game direction. They nerfed my favorite character. I know a lot of Blight mains are unhappy with the way that they've changed Blight. I know a lot of people stopped playing Chucky when they limited his flick. There's obviously also like the big elephant in the room that every DBD creator likes to talk about, which is skill-based matchmaking. Some people are a fan of it. Some people think it's ruining the game and continues to make things more and more awful. But these are all like subjective feelings about how you feel the game is going. There's nothing objective about how you feel about any of these things, because some people might like the skill-based matchmaking, some people might hate the skill-based matchmaking, some people might like that Blight doesn't slide off stuff now and actually bounces correctly, as opposed to actually having access to something like the hug tech. It's a subjective thing. So some people may be turned off by some of these changes, but some people may actually enjoy them. So it's a back and forth, and it's something that we as a community can come together and think about and be like, was this ultimately better for the game's health, or was it ultimately worse for the game's health? It's not just a, you know, like 2 + 2 = 4. It's not something that just can be objectively proven. Something like this, something like the game just being pervasively nasty and buggy and having characters just not work, and up until recently, a very serious health hazard, that being the white strobe effect, which is supposedly gone by the time that this hits the YouTube. Ever since the white strobe effect has been quote unquote taken out of the game, my game has been flickering. Like I have a black flicker now that didn't exist before, so that's kind of neat. but there was the point being there was a massive health hazard going on with this game for a little bit. So I don't think, wow, you're gonna play it anyway is the flex that you think it is, because this isn't talking about game balance. This isn't background players OP. Like, this isn't toolboxes are OP. This is literally the game not functioning to the point where it's causing health issues to other people. Like, that is a way more serious affair, and it's way more just asking for the bare minimum that the game is healthy and functional. It is the bare minimum. This is something that affects all players at a fundamental level. It's not about killer, or it's not about survivor. It's not about skill-based matchmaking versus not skill-based matchmaking. This is something that affects all of us pervasively. So it's something that we should all be united on, because it's something that affects us all in a very negative way. So for a streamer, especially with a big following, to go, I bet you're gonna boot up DBD anyway, is such like a, okay, if somebody was like, you know, I hate DBD, I don't have fun in like 95% of my matches, and that guy, you know, turns on the game, yeah, you got a point. I don't know why you're doing that if you genuinely don't enjoy the game 90% of the time. Why you booting up the game, right? That's where this kind of tweet would be applicable. But in the state of the game right now, where it's barely functioning and in some cases causing health issues for people because it's not functioning, that's pretty serious, and that's something we need to be united on, because that is unacceptable and that is the bare minimum. It's not the flex you think it is. It's a really immature and just kind of there to farm interaction kind of tweet, and it's just, I think it's just really immature, and in a sense kind of just like morally dubious to talk down to people, especially the people that were dealing with the white strobe issue, people that are photosensitive or epileptic. Like, that's really mean, actually, to be like, yeah, stupid DBD players, when talking to people who quite literally can't help that they're affected by this certain thing. Like, that's really immature and really mean. But the second thing that I want to close this out with, our final point, is that this could apply a lot to streamers as well. It's like, why do you continue to stream Dead by Daylight if you know it's like a tremendously buggy mess right now? Why do you keep playing it? Why do you keep booting up and streaming it, huh? Here's the deal. Obviously, the main way people get out of this is like, oh, I'm just gonna go play variety, right? Like, I'm gonna boot up one of my comfort games. I'm gonna go play Fallout, because Fallout's super popular right now, which is great, awesome. We love Fallout in this household. But here's the deal: not everybody who watches DBD likes Fallout, and I would argue most don't. A lot don't, because a lot of DBD community members, for one reason or another, are only into Dead by Daylight. That's all they care about. They wake up, they watch Dead by Daylight, they're into Dead by Daylight, they're not into a whole lot of other games. And if they are, it's really niche. Like, a lot of people that are in the intake Dead by Daylight in the Dead by Daylight community only like Dead by Daylight. So as a big streamer making this statement, yeah, you can probably do variety and lose a lot of people and still make ends meet. There are a lot of people that stream that are much smaller than you, that if they do variety, they don't make ends meet this month, because there's not going to be enough people showing up to their streams. So they don't really have a viable option to do that. Now, do they? I don't know. It sounds something I would have commented on if I hadn't seen this take like more than once since this patch has come out. But like, this is that was obviously like the biggest example of it. But like, people seem to have this like take right now of like, people still playing DBD anyway, even though it's a buggy game right now. It's like, this is different from when we're talking about game balance, perk balance, that sort of thing. We're not talking about, you know, things that, you know, we can talk about as a group that's more subjective. This is stuff that objectively affects us all. It's not something to be talking down or punching down to people about. It's just mean, rude, and you shouldn't be doing it. So, yeah. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this very awful big streamer take? Do you also think that they're gonna fix this anytime soon? Hopefully by the time this video hits the YouTube, that the desyncing and the stuttering and a lot of the character specific bugs will be fixed. I really hope so, but somehow I doubt it. Let me know how you feel down in the comments below. But other than that, it's gonna be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. But other than that, I will see you in tomorrow's video. But if I do not, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.